being a photographer in winter can be equal parts magical and terrifying. There is snow and ice and wind, and half the time you're miserable and freezing, but once in a while you can find a peaceful moment alone with a stunning winter scene. Now, I have been through some of the harshest winter conditions Canada has to offer, and my experience has left me with some wisdom that keeps me going through it all. In this video, I want to share with you some tips that will help you and your camera gear survive out there in the icy cold. And if you stick around to the end, I'll share a tip I never thought I would have the guts to share. But here we are. All right, well, everything's starting to freeze. This camera's holding up pretty good, but my phone, I think, with all this surface area, is just sort of turned off because it's just too cold. Camera's doing okay so far, but I'm kind of keeping it running, and actually every once in a while I'm just running a little bit of video through here so that it really heats up, it warms the camera body. Usually, the lenses will do perfectly fine, the camera will do perfectly fine, but the batteries are the things that really don't survive very well in winter. So if you can keep it being used and keep it warm a little bit, kind of helps a little bit more keep the camera going, keep the battery going. Here's a really good example of a mistake any photographer can make in the winter, which is using a lens wipe. Now, I usually have these around, but I use them only to clear off snow or a little bit of water and things like that once I'm back at the car and I can kind of clean it thoroughly. If you are in a snowstorm, your lens, even if you have a lens hood on, I don't now, but even if you have a lens hood on, you're going to catch a little bit of snow all over the lens there. And the trick to cleaning that off is to use a blower. And actually, because the snow and the lens are so cold, you can just get in and blow off the snow from the lens there. Whereas if you use a lens wipe, the heat of your fingers is going to melt that and it's going to turn it into water, which is then going to refreeze after you go over it. And now you've got ice on the lens and it's stuck to the lens. There's not really much you can do. But you just go in with that blower, blow off anything that you can get out, and then go ahead and take your shot, and you'll make sure that there's nothing on the end of your lens and that you haven't frozen water to it. This situation right here is one that you got to look out for quite a lot. Especially in the winter, this water that's right in front of me might be at freezing or below freezing, and it just hasn't froze yet for any number of reasons. And I'm trying to get this reflection of Emerald Lake Lodge here, and you could see easily that I might just take my tripod and say, you know what, I want to get a little bit closer, I'm just going to put it in the water. No, rookie mistake. The knuckles on this tripod that sort of keep everything together, allow you to extend it, these are actually the most fragile part of the tripod. And if you were to stick it in this cold water, the second that you pull it out, it's going to freeze. That's perfectly fine for a piece of just the leg or something, but for a piece of these knuckles, whether you've got twist locks or flip locks, it can absolutely destroy these. So definitely what you want to do always is take out the bottom section of your tripod, so that what you have is just a little bit going in the water and nothing on these can freeze. One of the things you can do if you find yourself kneeling down on the ice like I am here is just sort of taking your gloves and put them underneath your knees or your legs or sit on them. Really, yes, they provide a little bit of cushion from this hard ice, but also they just help you keep you warm, keep your legs warm a little bit. I find that when you're spending hours outside in the cold, one of the things that you really need to worry about is your comfort, because being cold and uncomfortable will demotivate you completely, and you could have the most beautiful shot in front of you, and all you want is to get back in the car and get warm. Traveling around on the ice can also be very difficult. Normally, I'm getting ice spikes on my feet. And sometimes you can get ice spikes for, cleats and things for the bottom of your tripods. Now, I own a couple of different types of those things, and I find that I don't really use them. And the reason is that they're incredibly sharp, especially the type that sort of comes down and has a razor blade kind of claw. Now, I'm sure that there's a use for that, but I find most of the time, as long as you position your tripod and then just don't move, you're not really going to worry about wind so much, you know, on the ice. And you can always find something that you can put your tripod against, maybe a piece of snow or a rock or something that's going to kind of hold it in place. Try to be you know, as stable as you can, but maybe don't worry about providing sort of extra auxiliary equipment for your tripod that's going to help keep it steady. I've never needed that. For your feet, absolutely, but for your tripod, not so much. All right, well, a winter survival tip that I've been reluctant to talk about is definitely worrying about your heat in and out. And the two things that I make sure that I don't leave wherever I'm at to come to an outdoor winter location is I need to have a hot beverage, always a hot beverage of some kind. The other thing is that you need to go to the bathroom. You need to do a number two. You know what I mean? It's not just about needing to do that when you're out here. It's also about just how much warmth and energy your body loses trying to heat the inside of your body with something that you could get rid of. You know where I'm going with this? So basically, if you're going to leave the house, get something warm, get rid of something warm, and then get out. You know, get out and go your merry way.
Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.